Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and today is August the 3rd. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Looking forward to doing the spiritual principle a day for today. Let's look at that meditation together. This is in a spiritual principle a day, and we need the one for today, which is the 3rd. Unity in our shared purpose, page 224. Our ability to survive as a fellowship and to reach other depends on our unity. It works. Tradition 1, applying spiritual principles. We bring all our old beliefs with us when we come to NA. Being intolerant and even hostile to people from different backgrounds may have been a part of our identity when we were using. Some of us held prejudices based on race, ethnicity, or culture. Others held negative views about certain religious or non-religious beliefs or sexual and gender identities. Our judgments about age, disability, income, and even what neighborhoods people lived in influenced how we felt about them. It takes time to realize that our old ways of thinking may not serve us in this new life. And it takes even more time to change our thinking and behavior. We often encounter opportunities for growth as we do service in NA. One member shared about bumping heads with a fellow home group member. He was so rigid and seemed to be against anything I was for. The addict grumbled. Many of us have found ourselves similarly frustrated, especially in early recovery. It's almost a reflex to assume that our way is best and they, whoever they may be, must be wrong. Fortunately, our sponsors can talk us down from that tree. They help us see that we've taken it for granted that others should think, feel, and communicate as we do. As we get to know people from a variety of backgrounds, we start to see the value of our inclusivity. Life is more interesting when viewed from multiple perspectives. We adopt a mindset of goodwill, and unity shows us how to put we before me as we focus in our common welfare. United by the ties that bind us together, we let go of our prejudices and embrace diversity as an asset. I need NA to thrive, so today I will choose to practice the principle of unity by letting go of my old ideals and accepting all my fellow members. What a powerful, what a powerful spiritual principle a day meditation. Talking about unity for our shared purpose and realistically, it's talking about how many of us probably had backgrounds that allowed us the luxury of being divided. Our backgrounds allowed us to think with prejudice, to think with division, to think with entitlement or superiority. Many of us have backgrounds where we it wasn't even something to really think about. Whoever they were, as the meditation says, they were wrong and we were right. They lived on the other side of the tracks, so they were different and they were wrong. Um, and sometimes it was socioeconomic status, right? We looked down our nose at the poor people, and the people above us that were more wealthy looked down their nose at us. It was just how life was. And then we landed in Narcotics Anonymous. And just like the Just for Today NA meditation for August 3rd said, the rules of active addiction don't apply at all in recovery. And same thing here. It's saying that our old ways of thinking don't serve us in this new life. I really like the thread of consistency with this new meditation on spiritual principles and how it is connected to the just for today for the same date, right? So we're talking about the same thing of having relationships with other people based on recovery, not who we used to be or even who they used to be, but trusting that we landed in Narcotics Anonymous and for a reason, and the unity, right, of tradition one, our shared purpose, our common welfare, right, should come first. In a unity, right, is important. It is how we are able to come together collectively and do the work that we need to do of the 12th step, carrying the message to the person that's still suffering, right? So today I'm thinking, the discussion is the same. What barriers have we put up, or what prejudices do we have? And if you're thinking it's all about race, it may not be about race. It may be about different cultures. It may be individuals that come, like their ancestors are from a different country and they live here now, and you may have a problem with just what they do culturally in order to exist and take good care of themselves. And we come into a meeting with all this variety of individuals, and believe it or not, as hard as it is to accept, many of us are still have that mentality of me versus them. And all of these areas we need to think about: religion, non-religious beliefs, sexual and gender identities, race, age, disability, right? And many of these have become isms, right? Many of this has become isms, but in Narcotics Anonymous, a lot of time it is the first place that we learn that prejudice will not work here. Because in our traditions, the foundation is laid that anyone that needs recovery can come here. Whether they're people you would generally spend time with or eat with is irrelevant. One of the most beautiful things I have ever seen is seeing the diversity of race and seeing people that typically would not even encounter one another at all come together at an NA convention and work together and enjoy the company of one another. Genuinely. It's the first place where I learned that people of a different religion, if I took away that, they were just people, just like myself, raised in a certain way and trying to do the best that they can. Religiosity didn't serve either one of us. So why should I argue with you if you're of another faith than I was or am? Right? So when I first came to Narcotics Anonymous, and it's just my experience, people wanted to have religious debates because when they found out what religion I came from, it was open season. And then I learned that I didn't have to endure those conversations, that they had no business talking to me about religion to begin with, and they had no business even trying to get into the details of who or what my higher power was. And I was able to learn, with the help of other addicts, how to shut those conversations down. And the truth of the matter is that I really wasn't active in that religion, and I didn't vibe with it, but it was none of their business, right? But I also learned that I was judging other people based on whatever religious beliefs they might have had or shared in a meeting. And I learned that I was doing the exact same thing. Maybe I wasn't being confrontational, but I was definitely being judgmental, right? And so I learned how to grow up. We grow up in here and we learn to have tolerance so that other people can get the recovery that they seek. That's what I want for you today. Think about the areas where, list 3 things today where you are not participating in the we of the fellowship. You are not adding to the unity. You're taking away from it because of your mindset. And those 3 areas, I want you to pray to your God of your understanding that you would have an understanding of how to go about changing those. And you would understand what character defect is responsible for you falling short in those 3 areas. This is serious. I'm hoping that if you're listening, that you're listening with open mind, because my expressions are based out of my own personal experience. But I'm sure you have your own experience. And I'm sure that if you cannot identify with mine, you probably have something that you can identify with. And that this is to give you the fuel that you need to go forward and start making the changes. This is my contribution on hopefully a more intimate basis, right? Even though it's YouTube, you're hearing me, you're getting to know my personality, and you're able to see how I think when it comes to the steps and the traditions. And hopefully that's giving you some insight into trusting the nature of my recovery, and that you can take these suggestions and now you can run with them. I'm not trying to be your sponsor. I want you to get a sponsor if you don't have one. And if you have one and you're not using, I want you to use your sponsor to get you through the step work and the traditions so that you can learn these principles and start practicing them. Right? I tell you the truth, even with all the information you have right now about spiritual principles, there's another level that reveals itself when you're actually doing the step writing work with your sponsor and meeting with your sponsor. There's another level of revelation that will come to you about how to enact or demonstrate or manifest these spiritual principles. That what? We're supposed to be practicing them in step 12 in all our affairs. There should be no circumstance that you're going through that you're not able to, by rote, take through the steps and the traditions. Everything about your life, you should be able to pinpoint where in the step work and the spiritual principles of them you are in that situation. For many of us, we're at step 1. We're still having to admit that we're powerless, not over the disease of addiction, right? But over people, places, and things, because the disease of addiction is mental. And if you only think about it in relationship to drugs and using, you're going to miss it. Because once you stop using, you've stopped using. And the only way that you can go back to using or use again or get high again is to pick up the first one. So after you put that first one down, the work begins with you figuring out why you even needed it. The drugs was the solution. So if that was the solution or the answer, what was the question? And for many of us, the question is that we didn't feel loved, or we felt rejected, or we felt let down, or we're still full of bitterness and resentment and anger about our past lives, and we haven't forgiven anyone, and we don't feel forgiven. Your ability to live life and have a quality life, the feeling of wellness and goodwill is tied up in you getting busy, trying to redirect your energy into a spiritual relationship with God and with spiritual principles that your higher power offers to you, right? It's like a gift. But some of us never receive the gift, or we take the gift and we put it up on the shelf and never look at it. Narcotics Anonymous is your gift. You got to unwrap it. You got to take the bow off and find out what's in the box. Guarantee you, if you do it, you're going to be very, very pleased and live a very happy life. My name is Mighty Stream, and I've enjoyed your company, and I will be talking to you tomorrow.